Sa mga gustong matuto, eto po tayo. Topic natin is about question document. So, when we say question document, this refers to document wherein there is an allegation or there is an issue raised pertaining to the authenticity, the source, or the origin of the document. Or in other words, these are document wherein it is under investigation. Okay, so it could be the origin is doubtful, or there is a question about is it fake or genuine or original. So, when we say document, this refers to any material which contains marks, symbols, or signs either visible, partially visible, or invisible that may presently or ultimately convey a meaning or message to someone. So, as I said earlier, question document is any document which some issue has been raised or which is under scrutiny. When I say scrutiny, that means thorough examination or it is under investigation. Or it could be a document wherein it is doubtful pertaining on its origin. So when they say standard document naman, these are condensed and compact set of authentic specimen. When you say authentic, that is original. Or in other words, the source of that document are known or it is known. So alam mo kung saan galing yung document. Alam mo sinong sumulat, alam mo sinong gumawa ng document na yan. Okay? So another is four categories of document. So actually there are four categories of document. First is public document, second is commercial document, third is official document, and the last one is private document. So what is public document? So public document is an instrument authenticated by a notary public. So there is an authentication from a notary public or any competent official with the formalities required by law, or an instrument executed in due form before a notary public certified by him, or that which is made by a notary public in the presence of parties who executed it with the assistance of two witnesses. So that's public document. Commercial document naman, these are documents or instruments which are used by merchants or businessmen to promote or facilitate trade or credit transaction. The term also include letters, notes, or papers issued in the course of business transaction, guidance, bonds, books of accounts, and in general, any negotiable instruments. So it is any document defined and regulated by the Code of Commerce or any commercial law or mercantile law. So kana mga resibo sa mga tindahan, kana mga sa may tawag na voucher, na. That's an example of commercial document. Official document naman is a document which is issued by a public official in the exercise of the function of his office. An official document is also known as a public document. So, but then remember that public document are those documents notarized by a notary public, okay, or any competent official. So, another is private document. So, when I say private document, it is a deed or instrument executed by a private person without the intervention of a notary public or other persons legally authorized, by which documents has some disposition or agreement provided as an evidence as set forth. So, private documents, so it could be last will of testament, your diary, your logbook, or something that owned by you or by a private individual, wherein it is not being intervened by a notary public or any person legally authorized. So, classes of question document. Ano yung mga question document or document wherein there is an issue or there is an allegation or it could be doubtful? So, document with question signatures. In other words, there is a doubt pertaining who really signed the said document. Okay? It talks about signatures. So, it could either be, actually, it is called, when the person sign the signature of another or sign the name of another, would be a forgery. Okay, so documents containing alleged fraudulent alteration. So the question is about the content of the document wherein there is an alteration occur. When we say alteration, So, ibig sabihin, may binago. O kaya, either it is being erased or it could be there is an added um, marks or symbols on that document. Third is holograph documents, questions pertaining on last will of testament. Kasi when we say holograph document, these are document executed or written by the person and signed by the same person. So one of the example of this is last will of testament, or those are usually, di ba, problema is they have problem on the last will of testament, wherein they will questions the veracity of the document, either or not whether or not that document is really written by the same person and signed by the same person. Another is document attack in the question of their age or date. So questions pertaining on kinsa man ang ilan na ni kadugayon, unsa na ni kadugayon nga document, how old it is it acceptable pa ba or not. So document attack in the question of material use in their production. So usually the most common problem related on this kind of question document is uh, fake money or fake paper bill. But they are questioning about the production, how it is being produced. Or they will questions about how authentic the document is based on the material use. Okay, documents investigated on the question of typewriting. So in cases of typewriting document wherein typewriter or typewriting involved. Okay, documents or writing investigated because it is alleged that the identity of a person through the handwriting. So documents or writings investigated, the document itself is being investigated because they will be able to know who own that pertinent document, or identity of a person will be identified based on that document or writings. Genuine document erroneously and fraudulently attacked, especially if the document talks about disguised writing, wherein the person tries to hide or try to alter his writing writing habits. Yan. So, care in handling documents. So, when you are a question document examiner someday, when you handle the documents, you must not fold the document along new lines. Bring the document to the laboratory at the soonest time. Do not expose the document to excessive heat or strong light. Do not handle the document excessively, and do not place it in your pocket. Do not work on it unnecessarily. Do not mutilate or damage. Do not use or allow chemical application to treat or to dust for latent breath. So, what is handwriting? So, we all know in a document there is a writing. So, handwriting is the result of a very complicated series of acts, being as a whole a combination of certain forms of visible, mental, and muscular habits acquired by long, continued, painstaking effort. So, there are kinds of writing. We have the cursive, the script, and the block. Cursive means the letters are being connected to each other. That's a type of writing wherein the letters are being connected by a connecting stroke. Script naman, this refers to a writing wherein the letters are being written separately or they are not connected. Block means that's a type of writing wherein the letters are written in capital letters or in majuscule. So, handwriting terms, we have natural writing. When we say natural writing, any specimen of writing executed normally without any attempt to control or alter its identifying habits and its usual quality or execution. In other words, you just write and you don't have any reason to alter or change the way how you write. Disguised writing naman, which is opposite of natural writing. Disguised writing is a writing wherein the writer may deliberately try to alter his usual writing habits in the hope of hiding his identity. So usually, person try to disguise his own handwriting habits, or he tries to alter the way how he writes because he don't want to be identified that he is the one who write that one. Okay? Next is guided signature, from the word guided, or it is assisted, wherein the person executed or the person tried to sign a certain document, but then he was being assisted or guided because most likely He is not really that may problema na sa kamay or matanda na. So, his hand will be steadied in a way that it will be guided or it will be assisted by other person. So, we call that one guided signature. So, movement. Movement is the most important element of handwriting. Why? Because through movement, you will be able to identify its characteristics of writing. Usually, if you are doing this kind of movement, or if you are going to use this uh, handwriting movement, you will be able to distinguish how the letters are being created. So, it embraces kasi on the motion of the writing instrument. So, writing instrument, this refers to the pen, the ballpoint pen, the fountain pen, or the material wherein you're going to use that will be that will that you are going to use in writing a certain symbols or marks within the paper. So, we have finger movement, we have hand movement, we have forearm movement and forearm movement. Forearm movement and whole forearm movement or whole arm movement. So finger movement, so wherein you uses the thumb, the first and the second fingers or the third fingers. So wherein you employ, usually children are employing this kind of writing. So tapulan. Usually if you use finger movement, the letters, the formations of the letters will be small. Bagmay yung letters or words na masusulat mo kapag you're using finger movement. Hand movement naman, it produced by the movement of the action of the whole hand with the wrist. So, kasama na itong wrist as the center of attraction. Forearm movement naman, that's movement of the shoulder, the hand, and the arm with the support of the table when writing. So usually that's the most common movement, handwriting movement that we tend to use, the forearm movement. And the whole forearm movement or whole arm movement, this is the action of the entire arm without resting. Usually when you do blackboard writing or you do painting. So let's go to characteristics. Of course, in handwriting, you will be able to identify some identifying details on it. So it characteristics refers to any property or marks which distinguishes, and in document examination, it is commonly as identifying details, or these are things or marks or property or elements of your handwriting wherein it will identify it that it is owned by you, or it will determine that it is not similar with the other handwriting. Okay, so writing habits. Writing by all its thousands of peculiarities in combination is the most personal and individual things that a man does that leaves a record which can be seen and studied. This is what constitutes individuality in handwriting. So writing habits, this refers to peculiarities in your writing wherein it will be considered as personal towards others, or it will becomes the reason that will be able to identify us that it is not the same with the other writings of another person. So, ito yung writing habits mo, ito yung habit mo kung saan nagbibigay ng characteristics or identifying details or peculiar details of your writing that will tell us that this writing is owned by you. Okay? So characteristics is subdivided into two. We have the class characteristics and the individual characteristics. So when we say class characteristics, from the word class characteristics, or known to be general or common characteristics. These are characteristics refers to those habits are part of basic writing system, of which are modification of the system or writing found among so large a group of writers that have only slight identification value. So, when we say class characteristics, ito yung characteristics ng pagsusulat mo kung saan nakikita rin natin sa sa writings ng ibang tao. So, which is commonly we call that one common. So, those are characteristics of writing which is common to you and to others. Individual characteristics, these are characteristics which are the result of the writer's muscular control, coordination, age, health, and nervous temperament, frequency of writing, personality, and character. So usually when we say individual characteristics, these are characteristics of your writing which is peculiar to others. In other words, you cannot see it to another handwriting. So my handwriting and your handwriting will never be the same. So the identifying details of my handwriting, and the identifying details of your handwriting is what we call individual characteristics. So, examples of common characteristics. So, the ordinary copybook form. So, ang imong imong letter is the same with my letter. Your letter A will be the same with my letter A. Usual systematic slant. So, usually, when we write, it is 90 degrees. Okay? Ordinary scale or proportion or ratio. Usually, we have the same scale of proportion or ratio pertaining on the size of the big letter and the small letter. Usually, small letter is half of the big letter. Conventional spacing. So, we also have the same as of when we are going to have a space. So, usually, we put space between words o kaya between lines and between paragraph. Okay? So, classification of individual characteristics. So, permanent characters, it is found always in the handwritings. So, common or usual found in a group of writers who study the same system of writing. Occasional, found occasionally in his writing. So, when you say occasional, dili per mi makitaan. Rare, special to the writer and perhaps found only in one or two person in a group of 100 individuals. So let's go to general terms. We have variation. So when we say variation, these are normal or usual deviation found between repeated specimen of any individual handwriting or in the product of any typewriter. So in other words, when we write, it is normal that there are deviation or changes that may occur. So sulat daw din ha og napulo ka pangalan nimo, so mabantayan jud nimo na ay changes mahitabo. And we call that one as variation. So, causes of variation could be the lack of machine-like precision if we talk about typewriter. Or it could be external factors such as the writing instrument and the writing position. So, it could be there is a change on how the formation of your letters because of the writing instrument that you use. Or it could be the position when you write. Physical and mental factors, especially if you have problem or you are suffering a certain physical or mental defect or physical problem. Iglaga natin mayroon kang sakit o kaya mental o kaya you have problem on the brain or it could be you are intoxicated. So possibly there are deviations or changes that may occur in your writing or it could be a repeated from a certain specimen. So quality of writing is prepared in the course of time. So we have line quality. This is the visible record in the written strokes of the movement and manner of holding the writing instrument. So of course, so it talks about the strokes and the movement of the strokes as you hold the writing instrument towards to the paper. So classification, we have good line quality and poor line quality. So slope or slant, this refers to the angle of inclination or the axis of the letters relative to the baseline. Baseline, it is the ruled or imaginary line upon which the writing rests. Alignment, this refers to the relation of parts of the whole line of writing or line of individual letters in words to the baseline. So are they aligned horizontally or vertically? So proportion or ratio, this refers to the relation between the tall and the short letter. So usually the relationship between the tall and the short letter is what we call ratio. Okay? Stroke structure, this refers to a series of lines or curves within the letters of the alphabet. Pin left, this is an interruption in a stroke or interruption on your handwriting when you remove the pen from the paper. Loose writing, this is characterized by too much freedom of movement and lack of regulation. This is noticed especially in tall letters form. Loose writing when you write, so sa kanang tungod sa ka free nimo when you write, sometimes the sani there is there is a lack of regulation, too much freedom of movement and lack of regulation. This is usually noticed sa murag ang imong pagsulat murag dili na siya pareha or it could change. Restrained writing, there is a lack of freedom and inhibited movement. It gives you the impression that every stroke was made with a great difficulty.
This writing is small. There is distortion of letters forms which may lead to illegibility. So ano bitong mapugos ka og sulat bitaw, labi na padrawingon mura ka padrawingon para sa bata ba padrawingon ka og letter L, so L sundugo nimo tanan. So restrained writing ang tawag ana because you don't have the freedom to write because you follow. Okay? So pen pressure, this is the average force with which the pen contacts the paper. Pen emphasizes the act of impertinently forcing the pen against the surface with increased pressure. The way you write, antod kadugan mo taas ang pressure or ang force mong ibutang sa ballpen towards to the paper. Retracing is any stroke which goes back over the same stroke. Rhythm, an element of the writing movement which is marked by regular or periodic recurrence. So rhythm means when you write, usually there are elements of your writing wherein it regularly or periodically occur from one word to another words or from one letter to another letter. Next is shading. Shading is the widening of the ink due to added pressure on a flexible pen point or the use of such pen. So from the word shading, mubaga tungod kay ning widen ang imuhang ink. Skill refers to the ability to write or the proficiency to write or the proficiency on writer's proficiency, how good he or she write. Okay? Next is speed of writing. Speed of writing, this refers to the personal pace. When you say pace, ang lakab, at which the writer's pen moves across the paper. Okay? So speed of writing could be either slow, moderate, or fast. Examination, the act of making a close and critical study of any material and with question document. So it's the process necessarily to discover the facts about the question document and the standard document. Microscopic examination, from the word microscope. So it means that you study or you examine a certain document with the aid of microscope in order to discover minute physical details. Say minute means small. Comparison. It is the act of setting two or more items side by side to weigh their identifying qualities. Collation, as used in the text, means critical comparison or side by side examination. Opinion, this is the legal language, the document examiner conclusion. So, the conclusion of the question document examiner pertaining to his examination, we call that one as opinion inside the court. So, why it is opinion? Because the law provides. The law said any scientific conclusion or scientific conclusion created by a certain expert inside the court, we call that one as opinion. So in presenting the scientific conclusion made by the examiner, he need to explain or he need to demonstrate the reason why he arrived such opinion para mutuo ang court. So we have grapho analysis, the study of handwriting based on the two fundamental strokes, the curve and the straight strokes. Graphometry, this refers to the analysis by comparison and measurement. Graphology, the art of determining character disposition and amplitude of a person from the study of handwriting. So, graphology or graphology or line sa graphology. So, pag may ka graphology, usually, it will be used for us to determine the character of the person based on his handwriting. So, it also means the scientific study and analysis of handwriting, especially with reference to forgeries and question documents. So, hand lettering, any disconnected style in which each letter is written separately, or we call this as hand printing as well, or manuscript or script writing. So, letter space, the amount of space between letters. So, line space, this amount of space between lines. So line direction is the movement of the baseline. Either it is slant up, slant down, straight across the page. Line quality, the overall character of the ink lines from the beginning to the ending strokes. So there are two classifications, good line quality and poor line quality. So, system of writing, this refers to the combination of the basic design of letters and the writing movement as taught on the school make up the writing system. So writing theory use the diverges from the system but generally retains the some influence of the basic training. So like for example, when we write letter A, so ito yung system ng writing natin. Aerial, yon. Tension, the degree of force exerted to the pen compared to the degree of relaxation. 3D form, it is an indefinite connective form that looks flat and wavy. Variability, this refers to the degree to which the writing varies from the copybook model. Word space, this is the amount of space between words. Writing condition, this refers to circumstances under which the writing was prepared and the factors influence the writer's ability to write at the time of execution. So it includes the writer's position, the paper support, so the writing instrument, the writing ability. Okay, that's referring to writing condition. Wrong-handed writing is any writing executed with the opposite hand that normally used, or we call this one as awkward hand. It is one means of disguises, thus the writing of the right-handed person which has been executed with the left hand. Okay, or left hand writing. Writing impulse, the result of the pen touching down on the paper and moving across the page until it is raised from the paper. So, we will continue the discussion on the next topic, which is the principles underlying handwriting comparison. So, I would like to say thank you for listening.